Welcome back, Theodulites. It is yours truly, Theodulus, and we're back with another video. Recently, they dropped the video with Mike Wang talking about the different things that he said would be in the new feature. And I think just pairing alongside some of the things that we already know with the courtside, I think it was an okay video. It didn't really reveal much, as has been the case throughout. 2K has really been tight-lipped as to what they're doing this year. And again, that's caused concern within the community because nobody wants pre-order or purchase a game where they feel like it's going to be repetitive. But just as the courtside revealed some good stuff, I believe this particular video revealed some good stuff as well. But going back to that courtside report, 2K boasts about on-court gameplay improvements and how this year was going to be one of the greatest 2Ks because of these particular improvements. Now, these are things that we've heard before as far as offense and defense, skill gap, but that's what it's been. It's just really hearsay. When you get the finished product, we really don't see that skill gap. And if there is a skill gap, as we've seen in years past, Mike Wang has been very quick to nerf. Like last year's shooting was difficult. It was challenging. But so many people complain that he decided to give it a buff. And I think the game suffered because of that. My question is not doing what they implemented, but do they have the fervor, the ability to continue and stick with it even in the face of adversity? So we'll see about that. But when we think about the shooting, one thing that I'm kind of bummed out about, the shot aiming will not be returning. As he mentioned this on his Twitter, it's not returning. I really liked it, but I understand in the poll that they did a couple months ago, the community was really fed up with that particular feature for reasons that are understandable. But I really believe that it added a different aspect to the game, which is something that they touched upon in the courtside report, where they mentioned that shooting will be more dynamic. Like there's gonna be a skill gap in regards to shooting. Now, how do they do that? I don't know. Because one of the things that they mentioned was precision jump shooting. Like, is this a skill thing? Is this based on rating? Is it a combination of the two? Because something that we've seen in times where 2K will go one or the other. And what we're trying to get is a very fine middle ground where, again, I believe it's appropriate for NBA players who maybe aren't the best shooters. If they time a shot and they're wide open, I think the chances of them making that shot should be significantly higher. But at the same time, a person like I'll take Al-Farouq Aminu, not necessarily a great three-point shooter, but if he was open, he could hit some. But also, if he was open, he could hit the side of the backboard. So we have to take these particular things into play when we're talking about, okay, rating versus skill. We don't want it to be where somebody breaks the game. They have the dribble moves, they have the ability to drive, and they have all these different features, but they sacrifice their three. But because they're so gifted at being able to time their shot, that they break the game literally, because at that point they're unstoppable, because the stats and the other levels really embody and carry them to that next step. Now, one thing that as I was watching the video that caught my attention is Mike Wang's harking, really doubling down on balance. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that some of my more popular videos on my channel are the defensive video. For so long, offense has been, I think the only one in 2K19 was the only 2K where, yeah, defense caused a lot of headache. But on that spectrum, it was a little too OP because people were bringing like 3 locks to the park and it was a nightmare. Where you wanted to feel competitive, but at the same time, in terms of defense, you want it to feel competitive. You want it to feel like you're doing something on that side, but at the same time, as we know, elite offensive players have the ability to overcome that. So again, this is not an easy balance. We're asking a lot of these devs when it comes to creating that sweet spot. So as frustrating as it can be sometimes, I do issue a lot of grace because I understand what they're working with. But I would definitely love it, because one thing that he did mention in the video is being rewarded for doing the right thing.
The game feels way more balanced, and it makes more sense just in terms of how we're rewarding players if they are doing the right thing on the court. I know it sounds really general and really basic, but a lot of times in the past, sometimes you'd make the right play or do the right thing, but you weren't always rewarded for it. And in 2K22, I feel like that's it's much more just a one-to-one. If you make the right play, you get rewarded. You get the right stops, or you score. So just shooting open shots, taking high IQ shots, much more rewarded. It just feels way better to make the right play, get open, knock down those open jumpers. They're so much fun to play with.
And 2K has come a long way from being animation heavy. It's facts. But there are still times where these circumstances that we're not too clear on, maybe it's rating, maybe it's a combination of badges, where you're in the right place and you maybe don't get a steal, or the block is in your reach and you don't get it, and you're like, what is going on? Or as an offensive player, you avert or you move out the way in terms of finessing a shot, and some way, somehow, that particular player is able to defend it properly, maybe get a contest that necessarily wasn't there. And I think that would alleviate some of the pressure, if not all the pressure, on both ends. That would create the balance. If some way, somehow, 2K was able to find a way where they are able to balance, to reward, and to create an atmosphere where your skill is 100% what dictates the outcome. Now, we have not heard any change as far as the feast not being part of the game, badges not being part of the game. So I temper my expectations a bit, because I think those are the biggest. Like, when you put into play that a person can manually either level up their player or manually get these badges, then you have to reward them for that grind. You have to reward them for whatever you see they put into that player. And that can really hurt the balance at times. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being able to see, is this game truly as balanced? Are we able to be rewarded for things that we do, as opposed to the badges being the dominating factor, or even a rating? Because at the end of the day, they're there to help, but we should be able to use the skill of what we control, like a shooting, like a dribbling, to perform at a high level. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you guys for just listening and tuning in. I'm going to drop as much news as I can to get it out to you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to everyone who's been checking out the shorts, who's subscribing. This has created so much joy for me to continue to work on these videos and to put out longer videos for you guys, so that we can grow as a channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, guys. TheAduelist is out.